Hey there, and thanks for tuning in to episode 12 of NetCLIX and Chill. My name is Jim.
And I'm Dan.
And today we're going to be talking about several things. I'm sure that anybody who has watched any of our previous episodes will notice that we're trying a different format this time. We are no longer going to be doing the video itself because we were just sitting at a table anyway. And I think we were having a lot of trouble with lighting, and some people pointed it out, so we're just going to go ahead and do it on the mic here.
Yeah, and hopefully with the focus on audio, the audio will sound better, and it makes it easier if you're driving to work. You can listen to it. You don't have to worry about looking down, being distracted, anything like that. We will still be posting something to look at. As we're talking about dials, you'll see some of the dials. I don't know if you want to post all of them because that's a lot of editing, but there should be a little bit of something, right?
A little bit of something real sexual right here on the screen. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. But what this also does is, since we're going to be focusing more on the audio, is we're able to also put this podcast on other podcasting services other than YouTube. So, not sure about this specific video, but just know we're looking into that for somebody, people who are interested in podcasts on another medium.
Yeah, that'll save you data since it'll just be audio. You're not live streaming a video. That should encourage it, not just sitting at your computer on Wi-Fi.
That's right. So we're evolving. Even though we've really reduced the content that we've done recently. It's been, 3 weeks since we did one? And before that, it was almost a month.
Yeah, you see, we suck.
Yeah.
But we haven't had a lot as far as new sets and dials. They kind of dropped the Mighty Thor and a new rule set on us. So we had a ton to talk about. But when that dried up, it dried up quick.
Yeah, it was super quiet. And then also with... We're still using the hurricane as an excuse. Yeah. But ever since that happened, our local venue, which we only have one that's super local, and then we've got Avon Park, which is about an hour away.
Yeah.
And they usually run events pretty consistently. But our local venue has not had an event in a real long time. Or they'll do it every once in a while, and it just happens to be a day that we can't make it. So we haven't even been playing many games.
Yeah, and Halloween came up. After the hurricane, we had a lot of cleanup to do. I had to repair my roof, which is an adult thing to do.
Yeah.
Just so we could give you a million excuses. We're not going to.
We've
given you enough. But really what we want to do is we want to get back to doing some consistent content. We tried getting a couple gameplay videos out for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. But podcasts are great. I enjoy listening to podcasts more than doing other stuff like watching games. I don't know. It's just podcasts I prefer.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that a lot of people are like that. So we're going to try to get back to some consistent podcasting.
And this is a great time to do it because we have a new set that is coming out, and we just started to get the released dials. We had spoken in the past one. It's specifically the Harlequin set that's supposed to be coming out in actually the end of this month, right?
Yeah, it's soon. I'm not sure timeline. I let Jimmy do that stuff because last time I thought I knew. That's still just salty.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, actually, just a second. Well, go ahead and continue.
All right.
The HC Realms usually has the release date, so it shouldn't be that hard to figure out here.
A cool thing about no visual is we can totally look at our phones and throw things, and you don't have to watch us looking at our phones.
That's right. So HC Realms, which from my experience, sometimes a few days off, at least from when our local stores would have the release, but it shows November 15th, so midway through the month is when Harlequin is going to be released. Yeah. So it's about the right time to start seeing an influx of a lot of dials. But up to this point, we have only had a partial set list, and even that seemed kind of speculative. So,
the new Pokemon game is getting released within 3 days of this set, so they're not going to have great sales.
Dude,
so DC is just going to get
gonna
crapped
be
on
broke.
Again.
Well, it's kind of a different market. So the new one being the game for the Switch?
No, it might be for the Switch.
I know they were doing a Switch exclusive game, but
Sun and Moon 2.
Oh, it's like the Ultra or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. I've kind of fallen out of the franchise a little bit, but my brother's birthday is the 14th, so and he already knows what he's getting. So if he listens to the podcast, guess what? Surprise! He already knew.
Those are the best surprises.
Yeah. No, the best surprise, I got him a DS when he was like 14 or something, and I thought he was going to crap his pants.
Yeah.
Like, we were in Walmart, and I was like, hey, which one of these do you like? And he's like, oh, well, if I was going to get one, I get the black one. I was like, okay, I want that one. And he just, like, freaked out. It was pretty great.
Yeah. I wish my brother liked me that much.
I mean, your brother's pretty cool.
Yeah. You know. All right, well, let's go ahead and dive in this. So we have the Harley Quinn set coming out on the 15th of November, apparently, and we wanted to highlight a few of the figures. We're only going to do a few of them, so we have more content next week to talk about instead of just dumping everything that we've got all in one load. So, are you going to go ahead and start out?
Yeah, I want to talk about the Harley Quinns. We have two. I think there's probably more that have been spoiled, but there's two that I saw. One is the rare prime. Sorry, not super rare. It's a rare prime, and the other one is an uncommon. The uncommon is the Bombshell, so I'm going to talk about her first. She is 75 points. She has a 12 speed with charge, and the flight ability is a special power. 10 attack quake, 17 defense super senses, 2 damage perplex. So she's kind of supporty, but she's fast. 6 speed when she charges with the flight ability. And it says, oh yeah, she just generates the Bombshell tokens, and she can use 2 to make a close attack. I'm pretty sure that's like they all have that trait, and then some of them have different traits. So hers isn't like super crazy, and she only has a 2 damage, so you won't use her Bombshell trait a lot, except with some of the other figures, which we'll get into later. But I like her just because she's Harley Quinn on a bomb. Like, it's pretty cool. But she's not a super exciting dial, but she'll definitely be played on the Bombshell teams because she is the support piece. And then for the rare prime, it is Harley Quinn in a bikini with a squirt gun. It's pretty cool. And she's got hypersonic speed. She's 100 points. She has a white attack power that says, what is that? You afraid of spiked boxing gloves. Knockback. Knockback damage dealt due to Harley Quinn's attacks is increased by 1. So she just hypersonics up. She has a 3 damage base. She punches you. If you fall off a wall, you're taking 1 additional damage from knockback. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are those the only Harley Quinn?
Those are the two I was going to talk about. After she loses hypersonic, she kind of doesn't have a speed power, but she gets exploit weakness, so you just kind of throw her up into the middle of things and just fight with her. And then she gets running shot pulse wave with a 5 range on the end of her dial with 2 damage. So she like can always kind of do damage. She has enhancement. She's kind of a weird dial, but I really like it. Like, she looks like a lot of fun to play.
Yeah. So it's the Sinestro version. That's why she's super powered.
Yeah, it says
she's got the yellow power ring. That's why she's got hypersonic and flight and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a yellow squirt gun.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
That's pretty great.
We're gonna go ahead and move into a character that I really like, but Dan does not at all. So of course, another Bombshell character. A lot of the ones that have been revealed that seem to have a lot of flair to them are the Bombshell characters. It's definitely a focus of the set.
Real fast, I forgot to tell you guys about the Harley Quinn Prime's trait. It's a special perplex. She can only modify a combat value by -1, but that character, you choose range or close, and it can't make an attack of that type.
Dude. How many points is she?
She's 100 points.
That's really good.
So you hypersonic up, knock them back off of a building, and then tell them that they can't make a ranged attack.
I mean, you don't even have to hit them, right?
Yeah, that one's just with perplex. But like, you can punch them, knock them off a wall, tell them they can't make a ranged attack, and she's got enhancement.
That's like...
Yeah, that trait makes her super busted.
You just take down tent poles easy.
Yeah, because like you can base the tent pole and say no close attacks, break away or do nothing.
Yeah.
And if they don't have like hypersonic or running shot, they're literally just stuck there forever.
And is the symbiote object still in the game? So you equip that to her, give her freaking plasticity, run up to the tent pole and just be like, yeah, you're not moving and you can't make close combat attacks. Yep. And then you just beat the snot out of him until the end of the game.
I have a weird question, I guess. Mjolnir with hypersonic speed. You may make a close attack with Mjolnir with your range if you use Mjolnir.
Right.
Can you hypersonic and use your full range as a close attack?
I don't know. Wasn't that what we were talking about with the super rare Elseworld Superman? Or Chase, right?
That's a charge, though.
Right, okay, so he's using
with
it as
hypersonic,
a range.
does hypersonic have range and then you use Mjolnir, or is Mjolnir a loophole?
Well, the thing is, does it say something specifically about a ranged combat attack? Because having your ranged value...
I think Hypersonic might just say have range, move...
In that case, yeah. It depends in what scenario it's having range.
Yeah, but that would be something to look at, because her with Mjolnir, she'd have like a 15-inch knockback threat range with bonus damage on knockback.
And I'm sure somebody will tell us in the comments.
Yep.
But I think that it would be a much better idea to have plasticity on that character with that attached. That would be absolutely nuts. I honestly think that has a potential for a severe meta break.
Yeah, and you could also...
one-man tentpole armies, that's ridiculous.
Unimind, go base him, and put Misoplate, so you can just change their die result if they do break away.
Yeah, and honestly, prob control even, you don't need Misoplate. You can't
prob their...
You can prob breakaway and attacks. Those are the two things you can prob.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Cool.
That'd be awesome.
Well,
roll a 6. Roll it again.
1 in 36 chance of breaking away, if you have running shot or hypersonic speed after I based you.
So, whoever wins the next world championship, you're welcome.
Yeah, and well, if they have stealth, this doesn't work at all. Unless she ignores stealth. Let's find out, because I forgot to look at that. No, she doesn't. Okay, if they have stealth, but...
Does she have super strength?
No, she has knockback. So yeah, hypersonic knockback. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yep, she's busted.
She's busted as crap. Do it, guys. Do it. And think of me the whole time. All right, so...
Sorry, going back to Jimmy's way less cool character. I need that Harlequin now. I wasn't excited about this set until I looked at her, because I hadn't really looked at her before.
Yeah.
Not in detail. I had read her powers once.
She's super rare?
Rare prime.
So still, yeah.
She'll be about $50.
Yeah. She'll probably be more than that at that point once people figure out that potential.
Not rare prime. When Deadpool Prime peaked, he was 40, and Odin the Destroyer was like 65.
Okay.
So I'd see her about 50 to 60.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one we're talking about is a super rare Supergirl number 51. So she is a Bombshell character. Her sculpt looks pretty snazzy. She can be played at 2-point value. She can be played at 160 points with 8 clicks or 130 points with 6 clicks. I really like her. Dan does not, and we'll probably explain why. Yeah. So I like she has the Superman ally team ability. I feel like that used to be super great, and then it became very hit or miss because they started putting it on characters with like a 3 range. So Superman ally team ability, it ignores hindering terrain for line of fire and movement purposes, which also eliminates things like stealth. That used to be really great before improved targeting ignores hindering terrain. Yeah. But they also just started handing it out again to people with like 3 range, and I was like, okay, big deal. This character has a 7 range, so she's always going to be a threat from range, which I really like the feel of. Starting out, she has a 12 movement, she has flight, and she has hypersonic speed with that movement with an 11 attack with super strength. Of course, she can't pick up an object and use that with her super strength attack anymore, but we have talked about the benefits of having super strength in the new game when paired with hypersonic because of knockback. You get control over where the other person's tent poles or priority figures are placed because you can fly over them and then punch them and basically knock them back to control their placement. She also has a 4 range to start, 18 defense with invincibility, which is a great power right now as well, especially in... Now, the 160-point bracket is really what makes her some trouble, but she's got also leadership, and that would be great for the Bombshells team. And then what I really like about her is her trait, Protect My Sister. Adjacent friendly characters named Stargirl or with the Bombshells keyword, my god, I'm not talking well, keyword can use super senses. So your goal is going to be to run out using hypersonic, hit somebody, run back to a group of Bombshells. You're going to be able to use your leadership at the beginning of the next turn. Plus, anybody you're adjacent to also gains super senses. So I would use this character in a Bombshells theme team as a leader and also as a secondary heavy hitter. You're going to try to keep her protected because as she takes damage, she definitely degenerates, but she always has a move and attack power except for her very last click. Problem is her damage value really starts to tank, and then by the middle of her dial, she has a 10 attack, and by the end of the dial she has a 9 attack. So she's not going to be pumping out a lot of damage, especially after you take that first hit, and 160 points these days should really pump out a bit more damage than you see here. You really got to focus on her strengths as a support and utility piece using things like leadership and then that absolutely great trait. And of course she has the other generic Bombshells trait. If she has 2 action tokens, or if she has 2 Bombshell tokens, she can remove those and then make another attack for free, which kind of makes up for that low damage value. But there are other characters in the Bombshells that I feel like really shine a little bit more in a combat sense.
Yeah, my biggest issue with her is, like, she's vulnerable to outwit, but you don't even really need it. Like, if you can get up to 5 damage and you hit her, she takes 3 clicks, then she goes down to charge and a 3 damage, and her damage potential never goes up. Like, sure, she's got super strength, but she's only got a 10 attack, and her speed is a 10. So, I mean, she's got an okay threat range, but for 160 points, being able to not even care about her defense powers, just hit her for 5, she takes 3, and then you... Like, she's negligible. Like, she can be annoying and kind of do things, but she loses her leadership. She loses her hypersonic. She goes down to impervious, so when you want to finish her off, you just hit her with Psychic Blast and KO her. Like, she's easy to deal with.
Yeah.
And like, for the investment that you're putting into her, at either point value, 160 or I think 125 is the other one. Like, either way, she's just one solid hit from being very underwhelming to kind of useless.
Yeah. I definitely think if you take her on her second point value, which is 130, that those 6 clicks really just aren't worth that unless you're really just wanting to give the other Bombshell super senses. I would in no case ever consider this a competitive character or even high competitive in a casual type event. But for somebody who's wanting to run a Bombshells theme team, I definitely see her place in that team as a defensive figure and also have the potential for that leadership. And then really what your strategy is going to be is bubble wrap her with other characters, turtle out and hit people, and then run back so that you're behind a wall of people who now have super senses as well as their other defensive abilities.
Yeah. And I mean, she's very okay. And on her third click, she does have a 12 attack, 4 damage. So, like, she's not terrible, but it's just
Yeah.
For some of the other really cool pieces we're getting, I'm not super impressed by her. I'm very okay with her, but especially being like a Kryptonian, I feel like she should do a little more.
Yeah. If I were to pull her, I would definitely be happy to pull her. I think that it would not be a character that I would go around trying to collect for no other purpose than to just have her. But if I were to pull her, I would be satisfied with that pull. It's a super rare.
I can get behind that.
All right, what's the next one here?
All right, I'm going to talk about the first chase we're going to talk about. We have 3 total we'll talk about today, and I will talk about I said talk about a lot. Kind of sound like Taco Bell. Anyways, Wonder Woman, number 067.
I really like this one. She's cool.
She has 2 traits. The first one, opposing characters within 6 squares and lower points can't use Outwit. That's pretty good. Her second trait, Never Give Up. When a friendly character of 50 points or more is KO'd, give her a Determination token. When Wonder Woman would be KO'd, if she has 1 or more Determination tokens, instead turn her to click 8, and then remove all Determination tokens and heal her that many clicks. So she'll play well with like a Horde team. She's 125 points, so again, in 300 Modern, you won't use that ability a whole lot. Just once or twice. So ideally, if you're playing in a competitive game, you'll have 1 or 2 characters that are lower point values than her. So she might get to heal 1 or 2 clicks. So it's not huge, but having 1 Determination token is really big because it can deny a KO towards the end of the game. You also get Blaze Claw's Fangs and Battle Fury on your last 2 clicks. So she has a special attack power. You modify damage +2 when attacking only characters with the deity keyword. Opposing characters with the deity keyword modify their damage by -2 when attacking Wonder Woman. Because of the Mighty Thor and the chase theme in this set, that is a very good power, because you're going to see a lot of deities. She has a 12 attack, 4 damage exploit weakness top dial. So she can get up to 6 damage exploit weakness with charge against deities. So she has ridiculous damage potential. She has an 18 defense on all but 2 of her clicks, starting with Impervious, going to Toughness, and then jumping to Super Senses. She has 4 damage for 2 clicks, 3 damage for all the others, with Close Combat Expert on 3 of those clicks. So she has a lot of damage potential just in general. So I really like her. She's 125 points, and I feel like she's very good without being broken. And like, she can be a very big heavy hitter in some situations, but she'll never really be useless ever.
Yeah. I think that it becomes quickly apparent, though, when somebody is really going to shine in a 300-point modern scenario. I don't think that she's one of those characters, just because she doesn't have enough move and attack potential.
Right.
Or even with her charge on her first 3 clicks, she'll only be moving 5. If somebody sees her as a threat, it won't be that hard to knock her off of that, and then she just moves down to sidestep. Yeah. What I would really appreciate playing her in is like a 600-point theme team, like a Justice League theme team, where you can really fill with lower point characters that will take advantage of that never give up power. Yeah. And she would be like your secondary hitter you hold back in the back just long enough to be able to get determination tokens enough to be able to feel safe bringing her into the fight late.
Then you just throw her in, she fights till she dies, and then she comes back and fights till she dies again.
Yeah, and even if they have a means to deal with her, it is always annoying if a character just comes back, even if it's for a very short amount of time, because you just have to deal with them again.
And depending on how it goes, she could fight, pop the determination, and then another character gets KO'd and she gets another one. You have to KO her again and she pops back again.
Yeah.
So it doesn't say once per game or anything like that. So definitely in big point theme team games, she could become a major pain.
Yeah, and it says when they're KO'd. It doesn't say by an opposing attack or anything. So you could even play the game of pushing your own dudes to death.
Yep.
And then get points by that.
If you wanted to get crazy, the 50-point starter Hulk, he's only got 3 clicks, but he has ridiculous damage output.
You just run a bunch of those and just beat the crap out of them.
10 of those in Wonder Woman and just quake forever until they die.
Good plan.
That's you're going to see that meta soon.
Meta.
Yep.
In the 600-point meta.
I don't even think they share a keyword because she's not.
It doesn't have to be a keyword.
I know, it's just fun.
Does it say Shay's a keyword?
No. Well, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Her power doesn't. All right, so that's Wonder Woman. We're not going super in detail into all of these dials because there's just so many of them. So next up, you want to talk about Shazam?
Shazam! Yeah. So this is Shazam, God of Gods. He is chase number 65. So I really like this. I honestly love Shazam. So even if this character sucked, which we have had some real crappy versions of Shazam, I'm still playing the Origins veteran.
Well, I got the Chase Kingdom Come Shazam, so
yeah, well,
I'm doing pretty good on Shazam.
Yeah. So Shazams usually aren't very good. At the arrival of that Kingdom Come one, yeah, definitely good.
Currently, there's going to be, 2 Shazams in Modern, and they're both pretty good.
Yeah. So this guy's 200 points, which, a heavy hitter like this is going to be up in that 200-point bracket, but I really have a hard time playing characters that are 200 points. Or even, my threshold gets to about 160. And then at that point, I'm like, is it really worth it? I like playing a bunch of, I don't know. I like playing the Wasp Swarm, where you have just a bunch of pretty lethal characters, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I think Unimind, he's really good, so I can justify paying that many points for him.
Yeah. But
I get very gun shy when I start getting up that high, because that Harley Quinn we saw, there's just certain things that'll be a silver bullet and just ruin your day when you play a character that big.
Yeah, your tentpole team is going to get wrecked. If it becomes a super mainstream thing and it's only one character, all the other person has to do is build a team to destroy that one character. Yep. And suddenly it becomes extraordinarily effective against your team. You can't do that if you're running 6 of them. I mean, 6 characters, they can't really specify one person.
That's one of the reasons I really like my starter Hulk Green Lantern team. We'll talk about that later. It's pretty silly, but we got to talk about these couple characters first.
Yeah.
So give us the Shazam down.
Let's go ahead and go with his abilities real quick. He's 200 points. He's got 6 range, mystics and quintessence team abilities, and then he's got flight and all other basic combat symbols. But he has willpower, so he doesn't need Indomitable through quintessence. So he's got God of Gods as a trait. Opposing characters within 6 squares and lower point values can't use probability control, so that is kind of in line with Wonder Woman's anybody within 6 can't use Outwit. And then I really don't like those powers. It's cool that they threw it in on there, but from a strategic standpoint, it's like this guy's not going to want to base somebody because he's got running shot, and so in the beginning you're not going to try to tie him up within that 6 space bubble, and then it's oh, you can't use prob control. I'm just going to move out of this.
Yeah.
Now, the good thing is if you've got a character who is trying to use the minimum value, if they're within 6, then they have to move just to the outskirts to be able to use their minimum value of 6 for prob control or outwit or whatever.
It can kind of lock people down.
Yeah.
It'll depend on the game because like 6 spaces is a lot, but it's not.
If it's an outdoor map, it would be easy to get around it. If it's an indoor map and you're having to deal with walls, you can really bubble these guys in.
And it kind of depends too, because if you run past them to where they have to move towards the rest of your team to get out of the bubble, then they're screwed. But the placement will matter a lot. And if they're out of position because you move past them, then you're also probably out of position. So it's kind of a weird gambit, but it's an interesting thing.
Yeah. So he has that trait, and then his second trait, everything you knew, gone. Shazam has protected Mystics team ability, so he doesn't take damage when he hits somebody who has Mystics.
Which used to be, well, that power would have been great before the team ability changed. Now it's just okay, because Invincible does the same thing.
Yeah, and he starts with Invincible, so it's a little redundant, definitely situational, but it becomes very important at the end of his dial if you're in that type of situation because he loses damage reducers in favor of defend. So his starting click, he has a 10 range with running shot, 11 attack with a special power I'll get to, and 18 defense with invincibility and a 4 damage. He maintains those types of stats for the first 3 clicks, but on his third click, he gets sidestep with a 10 range, or 10 speed, 10 attack with Psychic Blast and a 17 defense with invincibility, still keeping that 4 damage. So on his first 2 and on his 5th and 6th clicks, he has this special attack power, which is Shazam, Pulse Wave. When Shazam, God of Gods, uses it, he has knockback. So he's able to hit everybody in a circle using Pulse Wave, but of course if you're hitting more than one person, it knocks them back 1 space. But if you're able to target just one, then you're able to knock them back in the beginning 4, which is pretty great. So, I don't know. It's cool.
One interesting thing, does Pulse Wave resolve and then knockback damage happens, or is the knockback part of the attack and you can't use any powers?
I'm pretty sure the knockback would be afterward, because I think it's at like once damage is dealt, you get knocked back. So, the thing is, it would ignore...
charge... Would it ignore charge and combat reflexes for the check? And then when you fall, you have powers to reduce damage? That's something. Leave in the comments. Let us know. I was talking about it a little bit in my Heroclix chat, and we weren't sure. None of us looked up the rules because I was at work, and I think they were working too. So it's kind of busy and on the fly. But yeah, look it up. Let us know. Hopefully, we can give you guys an answer in the next podcast.
Yeah.
If we remember.
I would think that it would deal damage and then the powers would come back before knockback, so you'd consider things like charge and stuff.
I think so, and that makes sense, but again, without looking at the wording, I don't know.
And I definitely think that your powers would come back before hitting a wall or something like that. So I think you would get damage reducers before taking effects of knockback by like being hit by something or falling off or something. But either way, continuing. On his 3rd and 4th click, he gets that Psychic Blast. He ends up moving to invulnerability instead of invincibility on his 4th click. And then by his 7th and 8th click, he's changed into the transporter... teleport? What is it called? Phasing teleport. That's it. He has phasing teleport with a 9 speed. My God. Oh, man. Don't know what's going on. So, 9 speed with phasing teleport. He has a 10 attack, which it looks like he has an 11 attack for the first 2 clicks and then a 10 through the rest of the dial. So his last 2 clicks, though, he has an 18 defense with defend and a 3 damage with probability control. So his stats are all pretty consistent. His defense wavers back and forth from an 18 to a 17 and then back up to an 18. First 3 clicks, he has a 4 damage, goes down to a 3 for the rest of the dial. His speed's usually a 9 or a 10. So everything is within 1 point of its original starting value. Very consistent, but I'd say for this point bracket, at least his attack is a little low. For 200 points, he's got an 11 attack, and by the 3rd, it gets down to a 10.
And how many clicks of 4 damage do you have? The first 3?
3.
I'd rather see that kind of staggered through the dial a little bit more. Maybe the first 2 clicks had a 4, and then like clicks 4 and 5, or 5 and 6. Because he has no other way to increase his damage. Like, he gets some penetrating, and he keeps Pulse Wave a lot, but is kind of a low damage output for your 200 point like carrying piece.
Yeah, I would definitely also say that this character isn't going to be like a super tent pole. His powers that he does have are cool and thematic, but so situational, it's going to be annoying for the players that they're fighting against, but it's not really going to be an advantage in most scenarios.
Yeah, like he's a figure I wouldn't mind pulling. I would trade it to Jimmy because I know Jimmy would really like to have it. But even still, like, he's not like Thor or Beta Ray Bill from the last set. Like, it's not a must-have $100 chase.
But he does have the Justice League ability. Woo!
So he's pretty cool, and he's got
Justice League ability, Justice League keyword.
Yeah, he's Quintessence and Mystics, so that's pretty great.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd say he's pretty neat. Once you get onto that 4th or 5th click, if you're fighting against him and you knock him onto that point, I feel like you don't really have to worry much anymore, which is a bad sign. Because you're just like, oh, look, I knocked him past what would be most dangerous. There's no like, oh, we're looking for that end-dial spike. It really just kind of flatlines.
Yeah, so like you hit him to that, the only reason you deal with him is because you want the points at that point. Like, if there's another threat, you neutralize the other threat and then come back and finish him.
Yeah. All right, who's the next guy?
I am going to talk about probably the best figure in the entire set and like in the entire game forever, and that's because it comes with another cat.
Ooh.
So we'll do a little bit of a throwback to Clarion, the original cat guy with Garfield on his base. This is Zatanna. She is a Bombshell figure, 50 points. And she comes with John Constantine at the beginning of the game. That's important because ID cards, she's on the sideline. She's not on your force at the beginning of the game, so she doesn't have John Constantine. Her ID card's price spiked to like $20 or $30 because people think they can call her in and get this pog. You can't do that unless I'm missing something. But when I was looking into it, and we were digging pretty hard back when the card was still $5 to see if it worked, everything we found said that no, it can't. So if I'm missing something, please tell me because then it would make sense. But right now, she's 50 points for some greatness. But as an ID card call-in, she's doesn't come with John Constantine, whatever. Whatever. So, I don't get it. She has only 4 clicks, so you're paying like 16 points a click. I don't know. She has a 6 range. She has Mind Control, 9 attack, Psychic Blast, 17 defense, Mastermind, 2 damage, Prob Control. When she has John Constantine, I hate you.
Constantine.
When she has the cat attached, she has +2 attacks. So she's an 11 attack, 2 damage, Psychic Blast, Prob Control. She can separate the cat, who has Leap, Climb, Super Senses, and Probability Control. So for 50 points, you can have 2 Prob Controls on your team, which is pretty great. And she has the first Bombshell ability where she just generates the tokens, and she can take 2 off to do a close attack. But she also can remove any number of tokens named Bombshell from among friendly characters and give them to a single friendly character with the Bombshell keyword. So if you have like, who was the other one we were talking about? Had 2, the Harley Quinn. She's like not really a primary attacker. She has 2 damage, but she can get those tokens, but she doesn't do anything with them. Well, you can take her tokens and stick them on Supergirl when Supergirl is base to base with someone with her 4 damage, and then just smack the crap out of them. So being able to move these Bombshell tokens is a huge deal. Like, choose an auto include in every single Bombshell list you build. 2 Prob Controls, and you get to move Bombshell tokens. And then her other trait is the cat, and that's pretty much it. So she's got a really cool sculpt too. She's a super rare. I expect her to be highly sought after. I like her. She's got a really cool sculpt, and she is friends with the cat. So
yeah,
her and Clarion are going to be on a team at some point.
That's right. Isn't it a rabbit?
It is a rabbit, but I like calling it a cat.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a rabbit in a hat.
That's good.
Which rhymes with a cat. So yeah, that's pretty much it on Zatanna and her rabbit cat thing. So up next, you've got the one, the only
Lex Luthor, God of Apocalypse. So
what?
One thing about this guy, and I don't know what story arc he's from, but
I don't even care.
I'm super excited because he has the Justice League keyword along with Apocalypse, deity, ruler, and scientist.
You see the theme here. Every time a character has had Justice League, Jimmy has freaked out about it.
I love Justice League. I love playing it. It's like the DC version of Avengers, except not every character in the universe has it. So, I don't know. One thing that I'm a little disappointed about is this Lex Luthor sculpt. Because they did the whole flames thing, and you know how that turns out in Heroclix. Yeah. It's like some stupid halo that just goes around the edges of the character, and it looks like the person had like a fruit roll-up melted onto him. Like it's
if you look at what was that one X-Men figure that could he was the X-Men transport. You know who I'm talking about. He's literally just got like little jagged yellow around the edge of his body. Like he looks so bad, and this kind of looks the same. Do that,
and it's just like, come on, guys, this is a freaking chase. Like, put more effort into it than doing the stupid like Luke Cage pose with some stupid flames around him. Like,
yeah, the sculpt could be better.
There was so much more that you could have done, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and cover what I think is the greatest thing about him, but first we'll go over his team ability and his basic combat ability. So, he has the quintessence team ability. He has an 8 range, flight, and then the basic combat symbols after that. Now, his trait, God of Apocalypse, is what makes him pretty great. And also his 250 points. Did I say that?
Yeah, which is important here.
Yeah. So, God of Apocalypse, opposing characters within 6 squares and lower points can't reduce damage by more than 1. So, at first, it's like, well, that's pretty good. This guy has a damage value of 5. He's already got Outwit, so you can take out a damage reducer, but now you don't have to use it on that. Yep. But what is absolutely fantastic is that, 1, he has running shot, so he has a move and attack. He can move into range and still be able to shoot somebody so you move within 6 inches. You move within 6 spaces of the character that you want just straight up dead that turn. You then nuke him with everything you got. You also have Psychic Blast. So really, he's not worrying about these things. The great thing is, the people on his team also benefit from it.
Yeah.
So this character can no longer reduce below 1 any damage from any source. More than 1.
Yeah.
Any damage from any source. So you could also have this character paired up with like a Wonder Woman or even a Batman or something.
You know who would be great is Doc Ock with the flurries. Because now your 3 damage against invulnerability or impervious is dealing 2 per hit instead of 1 per hit.
Yeah.
Like suddenly you start to think about the potential that he can unlock. It's like auto precision strike plus.
Yeah, but he is 250 points, so getting him into that high-level play is not really going to be possible. Yeah, I think that he's going to be like 600-point level.
Yeah,
beat stick.
In 300 Modern, like cool, that makes your little 50-point helper help, but you're not using that ability. That's not why you're using him in 300 Modern. If you are, which you probably, I don't know if you will or not. But we'll see. I like his Psychic Blast top dial with the 5 damage.
With a 12 attack, yeah. So he definitely feels tough.
And he ignores characters and hindering for line of fire. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. And then, so the rest of that Omega Judgment is his starting move and attack special power. So he has running shot, and when he uses... Well, actually, no. When he hits with a ranged attack... After resolutions, you may use telekinesis at no cost to target a hit character. So you run up, hit somebody, just poop all over them, and then you use telekinesis. This means that you could even pull somebody from your full 8 range into your 6 space bubble and also displace them and put them into the prime attacking space for the rest of your team to take advantage of it.
Does he's got... No, he doesn't. No, does he have Mastermind top dial? I don't remember.
Let me see. So he does have a... Yeah, he does. So he has a white defense power, Apocalypse is ready for me, Invincible, and Mastermind.
So the character that you're going to be masterminding onto... If he's got something like Blades, Claws, Fangs, or some decent damage, you can hit someone, TK them behind you. Now your little mastermind fodder can attack them. They can't reduce damage by more than 1. So suddenly your mastermind fodder with a 3 damage can deal 2 damage to a character you just nuked.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty good. Lots of utility there.
Yeah. So... The stats on this guy are pretty good too. Again, they kind of like slowly go down, but really not that much. So He starts with a 10 speed with that white special power with running shot and telekinesis, a 12 attack with psychic blast, an 18 defense with invincibility and mastermind, and a 5 damage with outwit. As he goes down the dial, his third click, he drastically changes powers. He ends up with a 9 speed with sidestep, an 11 attack with super strength, an 18 defense still with that same white power, and a 4 damage with close combat expert. By his fourth click, he just changes to the invulnerability instead of his white special power, but his stats remain the same. And then he doesn't go through another drastic change until click 7, where he basically goes back to where he was starting dial, but now with toughness instead of his special power. And his speed has gone back up to a 10 with his white special power giving him running shot and telekinesis. A 10 attack now with psychic blast, and at this point he's on his 7th and 8th click. A 17 defense with toughness, and then that 3 damage with outwit again. So he goes through a mid-dial crisis of only close combat, really, because he has the...
But that's even okay, because you're able to use TK when you hit someone with range. So, like, they hit you, now I'm a close combat beast, and I just placed you next to me.
Well, that, he doesn't... So he would be able to do that in the beginning and place somebody next to him in anticipation of being hit. Yeah, but he doesn't end up with telekinesis during those clicks where he can do close combat damage. But it's going to be hard to knock him down there anyway if you're planning accordingly, because he does have access to Mastermind in the beginning. So,
and I already figured out the dream team.
What's the dream team?
It's this guy, 2 Colossal Carnage, and then 3 of the Carnage tokens, because they have Blades, Claws, Fangs, Super Senses, and Shape Change.
So you just Mastermind to those guys.
They will not try to pick off your Mastermind fodder, which means they have to hit you 3 times just to get through those tokens. They hit you, they kill a token, you Colossal Retaliate, and then you get to place another token.
How many points are those guys?
They're 10 points. The Colossal Retaliators are 10 points, and then you pay 10 additional points for each Pog you want.
Okay.
So you bring 2 Retaliators and 3 Pogs. Every time you retaliate, you generate a Pog for free. So, and those Pogs have Blades, Claws, Fangs, and damage can only be reduced by 1 when you're within his bubble. So that Blades, Claws, Fangs, as long as you don't roll a natural 1, they're dealing damage.
Yeah. Well, so I think that would be good. I'm putting everything competitive into the scope of Unimind now, and this guy getting close.
What's Unimind going to do? Unimind hits him, he dumps it off, and you kill a Pog. And then I Colossal Retaliate. I'm base to base with you. I put a Pog base to base with you that has Plasticity, Shape Change, Super Senses, and Blades, Claws, Fangs.
Does he have access to Energy Explosion?
Unimind does not.
And he doesn't have access to Pulse Wave either, does he?
Correct, he does not.
Yeah. What if he does, though, in the next set?
We'll deal with that in January when X-Men comes out.
Yeah. What I would
But for now, that is a nasty combination.
Because the thing is, you still get points for those Pogs, right? 10 points each, right?
No.
Why not?
The points are added to the Colossal Retaliator's cost. So each additional Pog they generate is 0 points.
Yeah.
If they KO a Pog, 0 points. They have to KO the Retaliators to get points.
What I would do in that scenario, just theoretically, I would use my double perplexes to just nerf the crap out of Luthor so he couldn't deal damage to me, always putting up my defense. Because the thing is, you can still perplex Luthor's damage down to a 2.
Right, but you're still taking 1 damage every time I hit you with anyone.
Yeah, if it manages to get close to him. And
you've only got 5 clicks. If you're playing the 160 Unimind. If you're playing One-Man Army Unimind, you're screwed anyway because Harlequin will be played.
Yeah, I think that Harlequin is going to definitely be the answer for a lot of things.
Is the nail in the coffin for One-Man Army Unimind. He was already the less popular version. Now that we're getting at Harlequin, he's out the door. You're playing Unimind at his lowest point value, or you're not playing Unimind.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So I think that does have some potential. Do you still have a Carnage, or is he gone now?
No, I had to trade him. I got Worldbreaker Hulk plus. Yeah. I also got the Spirit of Vengeance Red Hulk. So I couldn't say no to both.
Cool.
Both of those for my Colossal Carnage. It hurt my heart, but I had to do it.
It's like some necessary sacrifices. So, I don't know. That actually sounds really neat. I would definitely be willing to play that.
Super busted.
Yeah.
You will never deal click. Because every time you hit me, I kill a Pog, I retaliate, I don't even have to hit you to create another Pog. Now you're base to base with that Pog, and I can move you or telekinesis, or have that Pog run back to me with plasticity. I can always keep something moving. Yeah. Every time you KO a Pog, I generate another one.
I think that Energy Explosion specifically would end up being the issue there.
Yes and no, because you only keep one pog next to him.
And then you move it next to him. Yeah.
So if they energy explode, okay, that's great. I still get to retaliate. I still put a pog base to base with you, and I still get an answer. Because when your energy exploding, you're dealing 2 damage, and I've got invincible top dial.
Plus, he can't be outwitted because of quintessence.
And the pogs you're trying to hit with energy explosion have shape change and super senses. Yeah. So unless you have precision strike, and then I still get I get a 5-up, and then I get a 6-up.
It would definitely make this character real annoying to deal with.
I think that has meta potential.
I think that has good potential.
I don't know if that's going to be as impactful as Unimind, but I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that team specifically would be, because it gives you a lot of mastermind fodder while still... You're utilizing only 50 points to do it. But I think the saving grace of this expensive Lex is that he's also got Outwit, so he can basically perform as his own support piece.
Yeah.
So you can dump all of your remaining points on that fodder and it still works.
And he has quintessence, so you're only getting around that mastermind power with Green Arrow or Nick Fury, which they can't one-hit KO him. And I mean, then he goes, I don't know. That could do stuff, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
The ID cards are about to rotate out anyway, so that won't be an issue for long.
And really, if you're anticipating that, you can just block with one of those Carnages instead.
Yeah. So, there's a bunch of options you can do. And if they're in range to do that, like Jimmy said, just throw your Carnage in front. Have Carnage just carry you and place you behind him as he's walking up.
Until you're able to get close enough to Alpha Strike somebody.
And then if you have enough tokens, you can just surround whoever's going to make the ID call in. And
they can't call in anymore.
And if they do, they're base to base.
Yeah. All right, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, what is it right now? 47 minutes, and we still have a few things to talk about?
We have a ton to talk about. Let's just keep talking about this set, and then we'll have to do another podcast for all of this other stuff.
Well, I mean, let's put... we just filled 45 minutes with 6 dials, Dan.
I know.
This is boring.
But it's not. One thing I will say, a couple things about the set from what we've seen so far, is that we have less white powers so far. You'll have... I think Lex has 2... Most of the characters we looked at have 1 trait and 1 white power. So I like that we're getting a lot more flavor with the basic powers again.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think they're kind of balancing the game more and making it where you have to be more cerebral to win with these pieces. Not that they're underpowered, but it's not just a run forward and bash.
And it's not just a I win because of this white power. It's more like the cool combination of powers, and that's how it used to be.
Yeah. And another thing I've noticed is just the stats in general aren't as overwhelming. So they're good stats, and there are a lot of consistent stats where we're seeing currently there's a lot of top-loaded. If you hit them hard, they kind of drop off. These dials seem a lot more consistent throughout, but they don't have that same power spike.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to kind of bring the game back down and level it out a little bit, which they've been doing anyways, except for the random, give us Unimind and give us Beta Ray Bill and a couple, just random pieces that are really good.
Yeah.
But I think overall they're trying to rebalance the game slowly.
I think that they're definitely abiding by the more rare it is, the better it is thing, because we're noticing that the chases and the primes are nuts.
Zatanna is really good, and I think she's a super rare. Yeah, it's... The more rare you get, the better you are.
Yeah, and they said they were going to do that, so it's understandable. And it's an obvious mechanic of a game developer.
Yeah.
At least you can come to expect something.
And it also makes your collection feel better when you do have those pieces. I put in this effort and I'm rewarded. Not just, I guess I got 3 chases and they all suck, and why did I waste my time with it when I could just play 2 commons? There's something rewarding about having a strong piece that's also hard to get. But Jakeem rarity, they realize that's way too much power and way too much, it's too hard to get and too strong, so everyone needs it and no one can get it. So making the rare prime the power figure, I think, brings it to being just hard enough to get that it's satisfying to have it without just being impossible.
Yeah. All right, well, that's the Harlequin set. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about it?
I think that's pretty much it. I did mention my Hulk Green Lantern team. I should throw that in real fast.
Well, I think We need, because the problem is we're going to be throwing so many specific dials out this episode. I think we just need to try to get to a more broad topic.
Okay.
Discussion about the game itself.
All right. Well, then let's talk about What If, Elseworlds, and the Mighty Thor, because those are the 3 most recent sets, and they have all impacted the meta at least some. What If hit really hard and then disappeared because they decided Goblin King was stupid.
I forgot Elseworlds was like a thing. Was that... Did it present anything other than Superman that was...
Green Arrow.
Oh, yep, Colin. Yeah, he's standard. Never mind.
You have him if you're playing in a competitive meta environment.
Yeah, taking out defensive abilities is nuts, so he's definitely a staple.
So he's huge. Superman is cool because Mjolnir happened. He became really good. So I haven't seen him in the meta yet, just because that's super expensive to get that Superman and Mjolnir.
It's running like $180 now to get the Chase Thor with Mjolnir on eBay. It's nuts.
And because of that combination, Superman is sitting around like $75-$80. So like you're literally at almost $300 for 2 chases that are cool to have, but is it really worth it? I
would definitely say it's like middle to low tier in a competitive environment. I definitely think it has the potential to do things at a major event, but I would definitely not say it would consistently win against any of the other heavy hitters.
And there are too many steps you have to take to get rolling quickly, and certain figures just take it away. Like, if you go second against a Captain America Dreadpool team or an Overdrive team, and they can fly up and grab the object from you, that sucks. Mr. Nobody straight up gets to place objects instead of you. So like, oh, you got a Mjolnir? I'm just going to place that in my starting zone because it's your object and it's not in your starting zone. Guess what? My Mjolnir now. So like, there's just a couple pieces that just make the strategy not work.
Yeah.
And Superman isn't good enough to be a one-man army without it. He barely is with it.
Yeah, he has to have it to get that range value and stick in stealth while doing close combat damage.
Yeah. So, but What If kind of has no impact on the meta now. That I can't think of anyone other than Goblin King, and Goblin King got nerfed, so no one's bringing him when you can bring Jakeem or Unimind now. Yeah,
Unimind has, in my opinion, really overshadowed Jakeem. Now, playing Jakeem before was like, you feel pretty strong. You're like, somebody's going to come up against me with something that definitely has potential to beat Jakeem, but with Jakeem's great thing is you can choose 2 powers. He's got pretty standard... his stats.
His stats and dial are actually kind of underwhelming.
It's just the potential, his versatility, and it's backed up by standard to low value stats. But it's that versatility that's so great. Unimind is like the opposite. You're like, okay, you're more restricted in what you can choose because it's based on who's attached to you, but you've got all of the necessary powers for a combat or defense situation. And his stats are above average, and you can boost him even more. So your pick a power amped up, and it's way better than Jakeem now.
And the trade-off is you have a shorter dial, but you have a stop click. And you don't even get KO'd when you get KO'd. You pop into all these Eternals, and they all have the Perplex power. So, like, none of them are useless. You can have 5 damage on 3 characters all attacking you the turn you think you take out the tent pole.
Yeah.
And that's not counting the other pieces on his team, because that's 160 points invested. So you have 140 points of support that they have to deal with, in addition to this 10 range Unimind with all the perplexes.
The one thing is, like we had talked about before, that Unimind explodes into about 700 points worth of characters.
Yeah.
And if you're playing him at his, 160 point value?
Yeah.
You're now giving the other person about 850 points of victory points if he tables you.
You only get 3 characters, so it's... I think they're an average of 150 points each. So you'll get 450 points if you have 1 Pulse Wave. Because you just run up and Pulse Wave and take out the 3, assuming that they place badly, because you can spread them out pretty far when he pops.
Yeah, but if they table you,
that's why the Shield Hawkeye is such a big deal right now. Because you do pop Unimind, then you ID call in Hawkeye, he hits the first Eternal, then running shots and hits the second Eternal, then running shots and hits the third Eternal.
Yeah.
So he cleans up way better than Pulse Wave does. And he's good against the Carnage Colossal Retaliator we were talking about, and a couple other things. So he's just a good figure to have, and his value is spiked because of Unimind too. So like I picked that one up for that huge trade.
And then now he's gone up a lot.
And then he's gone up, so I came out ahead, and I feel bad because that dude's really cool. His name's Anthony. He plays at Avon Park. So thanks, Anthony. Great trade.
Yeah.
I mean, he got Mizaplik and a bunch of other playable figures.
Of things,
yeah. I gave him like
Mizaplik's really good.
I gave him like 30 super rares. So I mean, I think value-wise he's still ahead, but I got Hawkeye.
Yeah. But yeah, you could definitely get a very good victory points pillow in a competitive game if you beat somebody who has Unimind. So if you end up in like a tie for number of wins, then you've got a lot of points to give you an advantage.
Yeah. Mighty Thor is also just in general, not just Unimind, but there's been a lot of things that have affected the meta, like Dragon Fang, the Fray, Mjolnir, better raise object that gives you +2 range.
Just the sudden dump of objects, giving characters a lot more combat potential is really good.
The crowbar, the enchanted ball and chain, just so many good things that make characters great, and then that brings characters like Mr. Nobody, who I didn't really care about until Mighty Thor came out, and I was like, wait, I have that piece. So I dug through my bulk box, and I found 3 of them, and I'm like, this is great, because if that spam gets any worse, I'm throwing him on a Unimind team, because it's just a support piece. He has prob control, I think, so he does something, and he steals Mjolnir and steals objects. So makes it pretty good.
Yeah. Seems neat.
Mm-hmm. So, how long have we been talking?
What is it, 56 minutes now?
56 minutes.
Something like that.
Wow.
Why?
Because we still have a lot on our list.
Well, it's a good thing we have more content for next week.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. One other thing I wanted to talk about before we go. Star Trek. So, for anybody who has... It kind of flew under the radar a little bit for most people, I think, because it's not a superhero set, and they really didn't advertise it a lot.
Has it even come out yet?
No, but they have basically the entire set revealed.
Oh.
It's Star Trek, not the away mission with all the like characters on foot that we were talking about, like Kirk and Khan and all that. It is a new iteration of the Star Trek strategy game where you have a bunch of ships.
And let me jump in real fast. I follow WizKids on Twitter, and they didn't say anything about any of these dials, so like even they don't care about it.
Yeah. They literally have the entire set through 1 through 28 plus the 4 characters that it looks like are in the starter set. And this is Star Trek 4. Now, Star Trek, the ship game, and this is what this is, it's all just a bunch of the ships from the game, or from the universe of Star Trek, really died hard. Like, the characters or the pieces really suck if you put it into the scope of the rest of the game. They're pretty balanced if you play it in just that set alone, which is really how it should be played. You shouldn't have a very small Enterprise fighting against Superman. It doesn't make much sense.
And they even, like, strongly recommended in one of the articles I read that you do not mix these unless it's very event specific. Like, this set is, they literally said it's illegal to play in any format unless the tournament says otherwise. So you can't even play them in Golden Age or anything.
And it actually was launched straight into that other category that we had thought had died. It looks like the last thing that was put in there was a Yu-Gi-Oh set that was released in 2015. And it looks like Star Trek 4 actually was released on the 18th of October. I haven't seen it anywhere, but of course you wouldn't.
Yeah, like the Undead set were mostly special orders locally, but like people thought it was a cool set and ordered it. This one, literally no one even like mentioned.
I love Star Trek so much. I'm probably going to get 2 of the gravity feeds of the away mission set because I'm really excited for the ground teams and stuff. But I really don't like the idea of the Star Trek ship game. I think the only reason they did it was I was playing Star Trek Attack Wing, and that is basically X-Wing ripped off, but with Star Trek ships. I like it because I like Star Trek. And also it has a more unique pilot mechanic where you can actually trade out the pilots and stuff too. You could have freaking Kirk pilot Borg cube if you want, which is absolutely awesome. So I love that. The game is 100% not balanced. They don't give a rip. They just throw some numbers onto a card and they're like, oh, go for it. And Borg always wins, so I guess it's thematic. But what the only reason that I think they did this was Star Trek Attack Wing.
They had a bunch of leftover sculpts.
Was using the old sculpts, yeah. So Star Trek Attack Wing was launching all of these things for however many years now, and it was literally the same sculpts from the old Star Trek Heroclix games. So they ran out of sculpts, and now they're like, okay, let's make some more sculpts for Star Trek Attack Wing, and in the meantime, we have these sculpts, so we might as well go back to this Heroclix thing and launch them all over again. Basically launch 2 games side by side. They're going to start releasing these sculpts as Attack Wing new like waves, so they're going to be launching them slowly, and of course they drop all of them into like a gravity feed set through this other Star Trek thing.
Yeah.
The only reason it's back, I think that they know it's not going to work. Nobody liked it the first time, but they're literally just recycling the models that they made for Attack Wing this season.
Yeah, so their only overhead is the cost of the plastic to print the Heroclix, because they've already paid for the sculpts and they've already paid for everything. And I guess Star Trek and Heroclix together are popular enough that people might put some money at it just because it's like, hey, it's cool, whatever. And it's cheaper to get the sculpts through the gravity feed than it is through buying the ships individually. So if you just want the sculpts, you'll buy the Heroclix.
Yeah.
If you want to play Attack Wing, you'll buy the Attack Wing ships, obviously.
Very true. Except that there is some overlap, and I don't know if they did that just to pad it a little bit, because I know Star Trek Attack Wing already has the ISS Avenger and the Thunderchild and stuff like that, so I think they're also trying to make like, oh, we need to make sure that there's 28 ships in this new set, and they probably only made so many, so they're relaunching some. Yeah,
probably like 18 or 24 for the Attack Wing line, and then 28 because for some reason they wanted 28. Oh, one per. Cause how many packs come in a gravity feed? 24, right?
Usually 20. I think it's 24. Yeah.
So it's probably 24 ships and then 4 for a starter, which are going to be the same sculpt reused probably.
Yeah.
So they probably have just 24 and maybe made 18 for Attack Wing if I had to speculate.
Yeah. I really love Attack Wing. I loved X-Wing. Nobody plays either of those games at any of my local venues.
I played Attack Wing some, but the games felt repetitive. Like
it's not balanced at all.
Yeah, so you have to play one of 3 teams. And so it's just rock, paper, scissors, and it's every single time. If you play any other team, you just get obliterated, so...
Yeah.
Eh.
But Star Wars X-Wing, though, which is the same game, just, way better as far as playability and balance, yeah. And that game is balanced to a T. Star Wars X-Wing is freaking the balanced game. I would put it right below Infinity as far as balance mechanics.
Well, Infinity is only balanced because that game, like, it doesn't matter what you use. If you roll the right number on a D20, you win. So it's not like, regardless of any strategy or anything, it all comes down to a random D20 roll, and there's no bell curve. So it's literally balanced because anyone has just as good a chance of rolling this random number at this random time. Like, yeah. I hate that game.
I'm slowly understanding that more and more as I play the game.
Like when I first heard people saying, "Oh, this game is balanced," I was like, "No, there's this meta list and this meta list, and the rest is garbage." And it's like, well, no, it's balanced because meta list or not, like one D20 roll and your meta list is literally just throw it in the garbage.
There aren't really any meta lists in the game though. You can
There's
bring
literally
anything, but
like nicknames for lists. That's because they're the meta list.
Well, they have new.
I don't play the game.
There's a whole new mechanic that gives names to teams. But either way, so in this game, I was playing in a tournament, and I've played a few tournaments now, but I've got a character named Nauf, which anybody who is familiar with that game, he's like super BA sniper from Pano. So he's super awesome. And he's like the guy. Like he runs around with like this bolt action rifle, and he's like the sniper with this crazy stealth mechanics and this crazy awesome gun. So I'm running across this rooftop, and I have orchestrated my movement perfectly so that I can move down a line and one by one strike off his guys who have these like super crappy weapons that aren't long range from across the map. So I've made it to where there's a building between us. I'm peeking out and slowly moving, and I have a cover defense. I have stealth defense.
And they're at long range, so they probably have, what, a -9 modifier?
Yeah. So this other guy is on a fire team. If you know what that is, it basically gives you a +3 modifier to your range. and it gives you +1 die on the defense. So I'm still in my best odds. I'm on my turn, which means I get more dice so that I can try to balance out the odds. And if he was on his turn, he'd have even more dice. He'd have +1 to his burst, and then he'd be able to play on his agenda. So he'd be able to put me where he wants me, basically. So I'm in my best prime with my best character against a team that should not be able to do this.
So what do you need? Like probably 18 or less or something on your D20?
So I move to the side and I take this shot. The first time, I think we both hit the same roll and it basically negates each other.
Yeah.
And it was like the high end of his roll, so he got lucky. Second time, I roll like 2 3s and he rolls a critical and just kills me in one hit. So he needs to roll like a 6 to get a critical, rolls his 2 dice, gets a 6. I roll 2 3s, which hit, but they were under, well, it doesn't even matter. If it was above the critical, it would still kill me. He got a critical, so he won the lottery and killed my character.
Yeah.
Next game, I set this guy up and I'm like, not going to happen this time. Now I've got my stealth. I'm sitting behind a hologram, which then also gives them a -3 modifier. And I'm sitting behind cover, -3 modifier, and I'm at long range, so he has another -3 modifier. This guy comes in and shouldn't have even been able to hit me. He hits on 3s, and I'm hitting on 14s. I roll 2 dice. This guy shoots at me with 2 dice. First hit, crits me twice. 2 times with 2 dice on a 3. And instantly just kills me, and I'm just like, what can I do in this game to win? Like, there's nothing that I could have done in either of those scenarios to not just be knocked off the building. And it was just like, it was so upsetting.
Yeah, you got to come back to prop control.
Yeah.
That's like, honestly, I like Heroclix more than other games because of probability control.
Yeah.
That's like, because you get these stupid, just crap circumstances, and prop control's like,
let's try that again. Like let's test the odds again.
You've got a 13 attack, they've got a 15 defense. All I need is not a critical miss. You roll that critical miss 10 times out of 10. Prop control says, I mean, I know it's going to happen once.
Show it to me again.
Try it again. So, like, usually you can get out of that stupid critical miss.
Yeah.
But in, like, Infinity, especially because it's so, like, precise, if your opponent gets lucky once, your whole game plan falls apart and you lose.
Yeah.
Like, not for me.
Probability control, in a similar respect, is why I like Pokemon the card game more than any other card game, because of how much deck search you have. Yeah. It's more than any other game.
Yeah, it's literally like, you draw 7 cards.
Oh, I don't like these.
3 of them say, throw your hand away and draw 7 more. And then from that, you can keep doing it, and then you get to do it again and again. So you've gone through 30 cards in your first turn to build the perfect hand. And if you still haven't, you did something wrong.
Yeah, like your deck is not built correctly.
The game didn't do anything wrong. That's all you.
Yeah, and that's the game I like. Whenever it's like, if I made a mistake, that's fine. If my dice just hate me, yeah. I hate those games. It's horrible.
Yeah. That's kind of why I like Warhammer, because usually you throw like 60 dice, you're going to get around it most of the time. But sometimes, like, I had one guy, he needed 5s to live, 5 or 6 on a D6. Had to do it like 12 times. If one of them gets through, he dies, and I win the game. Last turn, last everything. 12 5-ups. I'm just like, this doesn't even make sense.
I had a case whenever I was playing the AdMac in that one big tournament, where I had I don't remember what they're called anymore, and I don't care enough to remember, but there's the big robot guys.
Oh, yeah, and the Castellan robots, so they're for the 3 of you that know what we're talking about.
Yeah, they have phosphorus cannons, and they lock their feet down to be able to get more attacks.
And they get like 36 attacks.
But they're like 50% chance, so you hit on 4-ups. So I roll like all of these things, and probably like a good 3/4 of them are 1s and 2s. And you're just like, what am I supposed to do with this? Yep. Like, and it was also in a situation where I specifically had like a caticle in effect. Caticle. And they...
probably where you reroll 1s and 2s and you roll all 3s.
Yeah, so it's just like, you'd end up with those stupid scenarios where you were just like, this was fate. Like,
I have 36 dice. 4s hit. 1s and 2s I get a reroll. Only 3s are bad. I guarantee half your dice are going to be 3s.
And last example of this, just to accentuate...
I've got one more too, but you do yours first.
So Booster Gold, as anybody knows, is my favorite superhero. and I played the Batman Streets of Gotham superhero. Played the Booster Gold, the super rare from that set, so many times. I'd put him on any team I could, and he has on his second click a special white damage power that says he can use probability control. If he uses it on himself, he can use it repeatedly as long as his previous roll was higher than the roll before it. So, meaning you could roll a 3, and then you could be like, I'm going to prob that, and roll a 5, and then be like, well, it was higher than the 3, so I'm going to prob that again. Roll a 6, and then you could still prob it again. As long as it kept going up, you could keep going. So you could ladder your way up. I get a critical miss with it, and I'm like, good thing I'm using Booster Gold. So I could roll anything. I could roll a 3, and I could still be like, well, it was higher than that critical miss, so I'm just going to keep going. So it was a guaranteed third roll. I roll a critical miss again, and it kills him. And I'm just like, what the stupid crap is this? Like, of all things, I rolled a critical miss twice in a row. The odds of that are absolutely ridiculous. I broke a record at Hobbytown by rolling 4 critical misses in a row. Yep. Like, the odds of that, if you calculate it, are absolutely stupid. Yeah. All right. What's your example?
My last one, my very first Warhammer tournament. I have a Demon Prince of Tzeentch. Tzeentch's whole thing is they reroll saving throws of 1. And, so I have this Demon Prince. He's got a 3-up save, rerolling 1s. So the only thing that fails is a 2. And he's got, I think, 5 wounds at the time. This was back in 6th edition, so it's been 2 editions. So anyways, I'm fighting against Tau. I'm kicking butt. And I fly this Demon Prince up, and I charge it in Overwatch. He's got full health. The dude rolls, 20 shots, rolls 5 6s. You need 6s on Overwatch. Basically, long story short, he has, no chance of actually doing enough damage to kill me if I fail every save. Somehow he rolls enough hits and enough wounds to make me take exactly 5 saves. Again, 3 ups, rerolling 1s. The only thing that fails are 2s. I rolled 5 2s, killed him, and lost the game. That is hello, this is a Warhammer tournament. My very first one. Yeah. And I've hated Tau ever since, because it was the freaking Tau that did that to me. I hate them.
Well.
Yep, that was it.
So, well, Heroclix podcast about everything but Heroclix at the tail end here.
Every single game. But that's why we do it at the end, because we've already talked about Heroclix, and some people like other games. I play other games, you play other games. Yeah. Maybe people that listen play other games too. So maybe this is interesting. Maybe it's a waste of time. If it's a waste of time, sorry. But, you can always just turn it off.
Yeah, whatever.
Yep.
Oh, speaking of which, one last pitch. Just got a new game, which isn't new to anybody except for me. Star Wars Destiny. It's a card game that involves dice. Dan is going to try it because I got a starter set that has 2 decks.
That's the only reason we're not spending any money on it.
Well, I'm spending money on it.
We're not spending any money on it because we play enough games already. Anyways, and we've played deck building dice games before.
That game was bad. We're talking about Dice Masters.
I don't know. Anyways, I want to plug the channel that I'm making. All right. So for Warhammer, I'm going to start a channel called Brohammer Official. I'll talk about that on the other channel. But basically, we're going to be doing gameplay videos of Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar. We're going to be doing 40k podcasts. We've got a lot of competitive players. We travel Tennessee, Mississippi, Georgia, all over Southeast United States to play in Warhammer tournaments. So there'll be a lot of good content there. We're as current on new stuff as possible. Before the stores know what they can pre-order, we already know the set after that. It's stupid how much this group knows about Warhammer. Yeah. So that'll be great. Lots of good content there. If you like Warhammer, that's going to be Brohammer Official. We've made the page but haven't released anything yet, so you can go preemptively follow it, like it, whatever, but it's going to be a little bit because I got to learn how to edit because Jimmy does all the editing for this channel.
I'll go ahead and put a link in the description too to that channel so you could preemptively subscribe. You can be the first to watch the newest content once it comes out.
Yeah, it's so new it hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, so I have tried several times to get into Warhammer 40k and it just never really stuck. Age of Sigmar I'm super into, but never really get the chance to play because our group here is super fickle.
Well, yeah, we just play so much 40k so competitively that it's like, hey, let's take a break from competitive 40k. 2 weeks later, there's a new book coming out, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, back to 40K."
I spent a lot of time trying to organize a campaign for Age of Sigmar, and I made a rule book and I made a map. We set it up. We had our first 4 movements or whatever. I think one person fought, 2 people fought. And then everybody was like, well,
8th edition
just came out of 40K, so I'm not doing this anymore. And then the bandwagon followed, and I lost that whole group. And then recently, about 2 weeks ago, the same group was like, hey, we're going to try to do another campaign. You want to go ahead and get a new map and start it up again? And I was like, suck it. Suck it hard. You guys started, and I'm not even going to play in it. You suck. It was horrible.
And then they jumped onto a 40K campaign anyway.
Yeah, so they're not doing it.
Charlie's super into Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
Though. He went to a tournament. He wants
a cool
to play. Anderson, call him Milkman. He is also very interested in Sigmar, but he lives hour.
We just need to do a 3-man skirmish thing.
You guys should.
One other thing. So was Ryan Cruz just pulling your chain when he was saying he was going to play Age of Sigmar? Do you think he traded that stuff just to get an extra $80 in store credit? Because it seems like that's the deal.
I have no idea.
He had to have traded within 48 hours of buying it from you.
He traded it day of. I left the store that evening. He was messaging about his brand new Death Guard army.
That was the plan.
That was the plan. Totally was.
He was like, "Oh man, I only have so much money, and I need to turn this into store credit immediately."
And I had even made a comment about how Steve wanted the army, but I don't know, just didn't pick it up from me for whatever reason. So Ryan was like, he'll take it from me, so sure, I'll buy it from you and just trade it in.
And paid half of what he was paying you anyway, so it was like, oh, well, you gotta, whatever, I mean, that's a strategy, I guess.
I'd rather have the cash than store credit anyways, because, I traded in my Skaven army 2 days later, and now I'm going to have cash in pocket, and I've got tons of store credit, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
All right, well, let's wrap this up. I think this is our longest episode yet.
Yeah.
That's an hour and 16, almost 17 minutes.
Yep. That's our way of apologizing for just not podcasting.
We're just torturing you more so you want to unsubscribe. My God, these guys are long-winded.
It's okay. We'll probably... I might be going to a concert Saturday, and I'm going to play 40K all day tomorrow. But we should definitely try to get another podcast in the next 3 or 4 days. So that way we can kind of shotgun these out, get y'all some content if you like it. If you don't like it, then I don't know why you're listening anyway.
Yep.
So the people that do enjoy the content, we're going to try to get more out soon. So especially if the audio only kind of is easier to edit, more popular. I don't know. We'll see. We can get it on more platforms. So hopefully it's a good thing, and we can produce more because it's easier.
Yeah.
And I don't have to look as pretty, because I know that matters to you a lot.
The lighting was really irritating me. So
yeah, and those batteries died immediately.
Yeah.
Probably it got darker through one podcast.
Yeah. So turning down the lights, turning on the mood lighting as we go.
We'll probably just use the lighting for gameplay videos. I would assume.
I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. Which we'll probably get another one of those soon, too.
Yeah. We actually have to do a competitive gameplay video. Yep. We've been doing a bunch of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle casual
because
games.
They're so good. Those teams are so much fun to play.
But what? We've got 86 views on one of those as the most. I think and then the Jakeem one has however many hundred views.
It had the word Jakeem, so people enjoy it.
Jakeem and Doc Ock, who's also on the high end of gameplay at the moment, I guess.
Not anymore. Unimind takes stealth and says no. But we'll probably do a Jakeem versus Unimind as our competitive 300 modern, I would imagine.
All right, well, thank you very much for listening to this episode of NetCLIX and Chill. Specifically, episode 12. We're going to be back next week. We're going to be talking about more Harley Quinn. Are we planning on buying a set?
Yeah, we might as well get a brick. I've got at least 2 stamp cards for Coliseum. I think you have 2. I also have a $5 gift card. So that's $45 off of a $110 brick.
Yeah.
So we might as well split it, $30 a piece, and we got a brick. And we can do a brick opening, which that was popular for Mighty Thor. Hopefully we can get it day of-ish.
Yeah, I think it might be a few days late. I think the delivery day is on Thursday, so we'll have to check when the release day is.
Yeah, but we'll definitely get at least 1 brick reserved. Probably not more. I really, really like a couple pieces in this set, but... it's not the Mighty Thor.
I'm just waiting for the release of Renee Montoya. She is my interest, and she's only an uncommon, so I'm good with 1 brick to get her.
And all I want are a bunch of Hive generics, which I can trade for those. I'll put Worldbreaker Hulk and get 50 Hive generics, I'll be good.
Yeah. But I will literally be in Philadelphia when the release comes, so it would have to be after that. Anyway.
I'd have to pick it up and let you do the release.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you're going to PAX in Philly, look for Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
See ya.